It is another at-home exclusive. I am live with Tarek from the Blue Stones. Welcome, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, Kev.
Yeah, and it's an at-home exclusive. I assume you're at your place. You got a living room in the background.
Yes, I call this the Sugar Lounge. This is usually where I do the live streams and all the writing and all that stuff. So,
Well, there is a rule. If you're going to call something the Sugar Lounge, you have to have leather couches, and it looks like you do.
well equipped, my friend.
Very, very, very good. So the Blue Stones, man, we're happy to have you, and we're happy to be playing the new song, "Let It Ride." I believe is the one we are spinning at the moment, the
Yes.
newest one.
Yeah.
Generic interview question, because a lot of bands seem to be doing this. Is this going to be part of an album that comes out in the future?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, we kind of COVID's set us back a little bit as far as album release dates, but it's definitely something that we're looking forward to releasing. Don't know exactly when that's going to be, but we hope it's very soon. So yes, that will be part of a larger album.
Very good. So here's a question. I want to go back in time a little ways. Shaking Off the Rust. I watched the music video for that today and look at the YouTube comments. A lot of people saying that you guys predict the future with the music video for Shaking Off the Rust. You guys are doing a virtual reality show where you guys are in virtual reality headsets and people are at home listening. There's a guy on the crapper watching you guys play, and you're literally playing air guitar in your virtual reality set. So a lot of people are saying in the comments you guys predicted the future. So you did that pre-pandemic.
That was pre-pandemic, believe it or not. That was almost a full year pre-pandemic that we filmed that and released that. So I guess it told the future in a way that we didn't want it to, but it did.
Yeah, that's it was really interesting because when I watched it, I thought, oh, they made this as a response to how things are now, but it wasn't the case. It's very interesting to see see that. But at the end of the video, you guys, you're done with your show. You take off your headsets, and you guys both kind of go back into this sort of, I don't want to say depressing, but mundane lifestyle.
Yes.
Is that kind of how the pandemic feels right now? You're kind of stuck in in limbo.
I mean, we're so used to traveling and playing these different cities and playing these shows that it definitely was like hopping off of the highway onto, a very slow road for us. But you kind of get used to it after a while and you find different ways to interact with fans, which we have. So although it's not ideal, we're kind of making the best of it.
Yeah, for sure. So you guys are part of a pretty elite group of bands like Royal Blood, Local H, Black Keys, White Stripes, with two members. That's just you and Justin, the drummer, correct, Justin? So I'm not going to be that interviewer who's like, well, why not add a bass player? Why not get a keyboardist? But what I will ask is, why do you think it works with just the two of you?
I feel like Justin and I mean, we've known each other for a very long time, and we were good buddies in high school. A good 5 to 6 years before we even started making music together. So we already had this natural connection. So that helps lend to the energy that's on stage. And I find that we're both very energetic and we like to be, we like to involve the audience. Then we just play really loud, I think Justin's a loud drummer and I kind of match as far as loud effects on my guitar. And we've never really felt the need to add that third member. Not that we were against it. It's just everything was working and we kind of kept with it. And that was it. We just didn't really need to add that third person or fourth person.
So I guess my question is, like, live, do you play with I guess like a baritone guitar, or do you have like a bass I don't know, like a bass doubler? I don't know the exact effect, but like it kind of fattens the sound a little bit. Do you use anything like that?
I play with a regular, like just a standard guitar. It's
Sure.
like a Gibson Les Paul. And usually to lend to the lower end, I play with thicker strings. They're D'Addario medium top, heavy bottoms. And I also have a couple of effects pedals that I use to sort of beef up the sound. So I do use an octaver from time to time.
Sure.
I try not to lean on it so much, but that is part of my arsenal, I guess you could say. And my amp is like a big, thick amp with a lot of wattage. So it really pumps out sound as well as the 4 speakers that are on it. So all that mixed with like an excellent sound tech, and you've got yourself not missing anything on stage.
Right. You almost forget that there's no bass player,
yeah, that's the key, drummer, right? I mean, we want you to focus on us too. And usually like Justin and I try to play absolutely everything. We try to put on a show, we try to play everything then and there. So that people are like watching the live music happen. You're watching us do it.
So, in studio, how many tracks do you record? Like, how many instruments are on the album actually?
That's where we tend to explore a little bit more. So like we don't like to limit ourselves in the studio. I mean, just because we're a duo doesn't mean that we have to be a duo on studio recorded tracks. We like to
Right.
make the songs as best as they can be. So, I'll hop from a guitar to a piano to a little bit of bass guitar, to a little bit of synth, and then Justin will do a lot of different types of percussion and background vocals. So there are a lot of tracks that go into the songs, that's for sure. But it's all to make the song as best as it can be.
Sure. I mean, yeah, it is okay, believe it or not, for the album to be a separate entity from the live sound for sure.
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think people sometimes they walk away from a concert saying they didn't sound anything like they do on the album, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? But
No.
but
Yeah.
I assume that you guys are able to play something that sounds like the album.
Yes, yeah. So obviously, the songs that you come to see, you're going to see and you're going to hear, you're going to recognize. But I definitely agree with you there. I think when you go see a live show, we want to give you something different than what you can get from just listening to us, whether you're on the radio or streaming it or listening at home. It's going to be a different experience altogether. So I feel like the live show should be something a little bit extra, just similar to what you're saying.
So, but when you're making an album, do you sometimes, feel like maybe you should be careful because you don't want to do something you can't recreate
It
live?
definitely in the back of our minds where it's like, "Ooh, did we go too far here?" I mean, we don't wanna do things that are, like, out of the realm of possibility, like, I'm not gonna get a genuine T-Rex noise in the studio and try to emulate that live, but we try not to limit ourselves as far as creatively, but then when it comes down to getting the song down and producing it correctly, we're like, "Okay, well, if we were to do this live, how could we do it?" And I think Justin puts it really well. He's mentioned it in a few interviews, but he says that we almost cover our own material. So it's like
Okay.
the songs on our album are there and they're living, and we try to cover them live as best we can.
So speaking of that, when was the last time you got to play live in front of an audience?
Oh, it actually wasn't too long ago. It was less than a week ago now. We played last Friday at a drive-in in Toronto, and
The
it was
drive-in
like the
shows.
typical drive-in setup. Everybody had their own spots that they were allocated, and it was a big festival stage with the backdrop being downtown Toronto, and it was actually a really, really cool place to play. The only thing that was different was that instead of applause, it was like all horns.
Yeah, that's got to be a little bit strange, a little bit hard to get used to. But a lot of groups are doing that, man. A lot of performers, comedians are doing that too.
Yeah,
And what better place to feel safe from other people's germs than behind your windshield, behind your car windows? So
exactly.
it's actually a great idea. Did you enjoy playing at Ford Driving?
It was cool. Like I think that it's different than what I'm used to as far as, the crowd being all pushed up against the rails and everybody having a
Right.
good time. But it was better than not playing live. I'll tell you that much. I mean, it's just so nice to get back up there on stage and do our thing and have people there who are actually enjoying it in real time. So yeah, I did really enjoy it. Especially by the end, I kind of got used to the cars.
Yeah, I bet. Do people have their headlights on, or are you're lit on a stage,
Yeah, so
right?
well, what they do is they tell people to keep their headlights off. But when we were up there, we're like, honestly, flash your high beams. Like to
Yeah,
us, it's just
sure.
kind of cool because we get to see all these different lights hitting at different times. So I actually encouraged it. I thought it was really cool to see.
So yeah, obviously I've had a little bit of extra time this year with pandemic keeping people inside
Yes.
and things like that. I find that with extra time, I find myself revisiting things that I used to do that I haven't had time to do anymore. We recently found out that Chris Daughtry draws comic books. He's a
What?
comic book artist. He actually did a cover for a Batman issue, and
No kidding.
Lejon from Seven Dust is a video game nerd. So I guess what I'm asking you is, what do you do? What is your thing other than music? If you weren't doing music, what would you want to do?
Huh, that's a really good question. I mean, I definitely music has been the forefront of both of our lives now, but
Hmm.
now that we've had all this time, I'm also a pretty big gamer myself. Like I love playing video games, so I've dove into a lot of the single player RPGs, I guess. But apart from that, I do physical therapy. So I've been working as a physical therapist, just kind of seeing patients, just because I have a certification to do it. So
Sure, why not
that's
do it?
yeah, I figured, that was on the back burner for a very long time, only because we were touring and everything was clicking. But now that everything's been put on pause while we wait to go back out there, it's figured I'd dive right back into another passion of mine.
So as a physical therapist, are you a doctor?
No, technically not on the Canada side of things. I know in the US you get a doctorate for physical therapy, but in
Okay.
Canada it's basically just like a master's degree.
See, everything is better in Canada. See? Do you see
It's,
everybody?
I don't know. Man. You probably people make bank as physical therapists in the US. I can
Oh, I'm
definitely
sure
say that.
I'm sure they do. But yeah, I think this is that might have been one of the answers I never would have expected, man. So that's really cool that you do something like that. It's it's a real thing. You're really helping people, and that's awesome, man. That's really
Appreciate it,
cool.
man. It's a lot of
Because
fun. It feels good to do.
so you mentioned being a gamer as well, RPGs. So are you a Zelda guy? Are you a Final Fantasy guy?
Ooh, so I don't have a Switch, but I would absolutely be playing that newer Zelda game that came out. I'm more of a, I guess, what have I been playing? There's just been this samurai game that's come out called Ghosts of Tsushima, and I've
Uh-huh.
been playing that quite a bit. But normally I'd be playing games like The Witcher or Skyrim or Mass Effect. Really, any one of those games is the ones I'd dive into.
What's your
Actually, more
platform?
recently it's been Call of Duty, but that's just to let the aggression out.
Yeah, right. That's to blow off some steam.
That's
Yeah.
just to blow off
uh,
steam.
you playing the Warzone, playing the Battle Royale edition,
Yes.
or do you like the team deathmatch type stuff?
I'm more of a team deathmatch guy because
Same.
I'm absolutely terrible at Warzone. I'm
Same. I don't get it.
so bad. The people are ridiculously good on that game. Like it's
I know.
not even. And the thing is, in Warzone, you'll spend like 15 or 20 minutes sneaking around, and then
Mhm.
somebody finally comes up and pops you, and that's it. Your round is
Yep.
done. You just wasted whoever knows how much time. I'd rather just hop in and hop out. I don't need that kind of pressure in my life.
Right. I find with the battle royale format being there on Call of Duty, a lot of the really good players are doing that, so it gives me a chance to kind of top the charts in team deathmatch
Yeah,
and domination and things like that.
exactly,
Gives
exactly.
me a chance to shine because the pros are over there doing the pro thing for
Yeah,
sure,
let them
hanging out in
just
the
build up.
gulag.
Yeah, absolutely. Not for
Well, that's
me.
awesome. So you have agreed to do a song for us, and we definitely appreciate that. So what are you gonna play for us?
I'm gonna play "Shaking Off the Rust." I just feel like it translates pretty well to the acoustic guitar, so I'd love to perform that for you guys.
Very cool. We'd love to hear it. So it's Tarek from the Blue Stones doing "Shaking Off the Rust." I'm going to put you on the screen by yourself because nobody wants to see my ugly face while you're doing that. So go ahead and take it away when you're ready.
Bang my head against the wall. Try to find my stride, but I trip and I fall. Losing my attention again. Yeah, I hit the bottom, but I'm on the mend. Take another step, push it to the edge. Just a little more, I can see the end. Yeah, you're finished, yeah, you're mine. Always win in due time. You think too much, it's in my head. So I'm shaking out the rust there. You've got no trust, it's in my head. So I'm shaking out the rust. I think I broke just a little bit. Walk through the fire, made it back again. Lord knows I've tried everything I can. And I'm shaking out the rust. Yeah, I'm shaking out the rust. Bang my head against the wall. Try to hold a smile, but I'm sick of it all. Everyone with something to say. Better hold my tongue or I'll make a mistake. Show 'em what I do, show 'em how it's done. Never turn it down, never gonna run island. You think too much, it's in my head. So I'm shaking out the rust and you got no trust, it's in my head. So I'm shaking out the rust. I think I broke just a little bit. Walk through the fire, made it back again. Lord knows I've tried everything I can. And I'm shaking out the rust. Yeah, I'm shaking up the rust. Oh, you think too much, it's in my head. So I'm shaking up the rust, and you got no trust. It's in my head. So I'm shaking up the rust. I think I'll grow just a little bit. Walk through the fire, maybe back again. Lord knows I tried everything I can, and I'm shaking up the rust. Yeah, I'm shaking up the rust. So I'm shaking up the rust.
And there he is, Tark from the Blue Stone, shaking off the rust, live from the Sugar
The
Lounge.
Sugar
Well
Lounge.
done, my friend. Yeah, dude, very cool. Very cool. And you find it's weird playing in that kind of a format. I'm sure you've sat alone and played your guitar and sang songs on your own, but when there's a live stream going on, you're making eye contact with a webcam. You know what I mean? Is that weird for you?
Absolutely, for sure it is. It's like, yeah, it's playing in silence to silence pretty much, because you don't really know how anybody else is reacting behind the screen. So you just kind of have to assume a thunderous round of applause when you're done, and that just makes you feel better.
Yeah, I try to make sure I come in right away when you guys are done in this kind of situation, because that awkward silence, like, okay,
Oh,
that's it, I'm
yeah,
done. Yeah.
thank you. Much appreciated.
Yeah. No problem, man. Well, hey, we're looking forward to an album from the Blue Stone. So, shaking off the rust, was that a part of Black Holes, or is that on the next one?
That's on the next one. Yeah.
Okay,
So
good.
that's all part of the album that we finished, mixed, mastered. It was produced by Paul Meany, actually, the lead singer of Mute Math and also producer of 21 Pilots. So it's really a dream to work with this guy. He's been a hero of mine for years and years. So really excited to put this album out when we can.
Very good.
Finally.
Well, I hope that day is soon, and we look forward to a day when you can come out to the Rockford, Illinois area and play live for us, man. We really look forward to that.
Looking
And
forward
we
to it as
thank you
well.
very much for giving us 17 and a half minutes of your time today.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. It's a pleasure.
Anytime, we'll be glad to have you back and do another one of these anytime you feel like it, man.
Sounds good. Hit
Appreciate
me
it.
up.
Tark from the Blue Stones, thank you.